Okay, hello. My name is Lyric, and if you are watching this, then that means that you must have signed up for the LEP program. So thank you so much for signing up for the LEP program. So since this is a recording for you, because it is a recording, some people who join the class, they do not agree to being recorded. So I record a session just separately, just to protect their rights. And also, so normally the class is an hour, and that gives people a chance to ask questions and things of that sort. But since it's only me talking, then there aren't any questions. So this will not be as long as an hour. But please know I do appreciate you for signing up to this class, and please share the flyer and things of that sort. So I'm actually thinking about changing the name of the class, because I don't want people to get confused and think that I'm a teacher or a tutor, because that's not what I am. So the flyer, it was stating how my name is Lyric, and I took the test 3 times. And I feel like it is a very challenging test, and each time I took it, I had a different test. So the test is universal, but of course you don't get the same questions each time. You don't get the same type of test each time. You might not even get the same types of answers. The same types of questions each time. So that was very confusing to me. My first time taking it, I didn't know what to expect. A lot of times people have test anxiety. Some people who signed up for the class, they stated that they don't even want to take it because of their test anxiety. So on top of the test being challenging and then having test anxiety, that just makes things it makes things a lot harder, in my opinion. So I have put together certain things to help others, because I wish I would have had to help. These are things that I learned along the way. So hopefully this is keep you from taking the test 3 times. And hopefully you only have to take it 1 time and it'll be a pass. So we're going to speak that into existence, because I talk about that too. Sometimes you just got to speak into existence, and then it's going to happen for you. So the first thing, so if you signed up for the class, let me think of a different word. If you signed up for the informational, what you received was information from me. Some of you may have received some gifts, but you received some information from me. And what that information was my flyer, which I'm going to revamp, so people will know like it's the informational. So you're really paying to get resources, because social workers are resourceful. And I'm giving out referrals to some of my colleagues, because, if I use them to help, I'm not gatekeeping. I'm telling y'all, like, look, these who helped me, so I want them to help you as well. So it's basically me telling you my experiences, breaking down for people who never took the test, they don't know where to start, how to begin taking the test, how to start your application process. And it's not step by step, but I'm giving you, it's straight to the point. I'm straight to the point. So let's get started. So for the people who have never taken a test before, this is my approach. So, you can ask people in groups, you can ask different people, but each state is different. And a lot of times things change in the social work world. So you need to get on the social work ASWB website. I suggest that you get the ASWB book. You need to get the DSM-5. A lot of these groups that we are in, you can just ask for the book. People are willing to give you the books. But you can also, buy the books as well. And you need to call the social work board specifically for your state and say, hey, my name is Jill, and I am wanting to take my LMSW test. And the LMSW, that's licensed master social worker. So after you have your master's, or if you are in school and if you have a certain GPA and you're about to graduate soon, you can also do that. But you need to say, my name is Jill, and I have my MSW, and I want to get licensed. What is the procedure? So they'll probably send you a link or tell you how to get to the link. And in the link, it will tell you what you need. So each state is different. So I don't want to come over here and tell you that you need this, and that. And then that's what you get ready. And then time you call them, they add on something else. So you need to figure out what your state needs. So, but I can give you a general idea. So you're going to need something like, of course, your identification. So go to a library or something because you might need to fax this stuff. Or if you have an iPhone, you can go to your notes and hit scan document instead of taking a picture. And it'll scan it for you. And you can have all that stuff collected. And you can send it to your email. Or if you have an Android, you can probably download a scanning app. So you're going to need things like your ID. I needed my transcripts from both undergrad and grad. And if you don't know how to get your transcripts, call your school. So you can't be afraid to call. You got to start making phone calls. That's what we do anyway. If you're a social worker, I'm sure you have to make a lot of phone calls. But transcripts, I needed some. I believe I had to have a letter of recommendation. I'm not 100% sure. I believe I had, and you think I would remember because I took it 3 times. But letter of recommendation. And I believe that was it. So you need those 3 things, and then you also have to pay a fee. They have to pay a registration fee. And after the registration fee, you got to pay to sit and take the exam. So it is kind of costly. But you need to make sure that you register first. So you have to do your application first before you register to take the exam. So I said that backwards. So yeah, do your application first and get approved, and then you can get your registered to take your exam. So that's the first thing that you need to do. So once you call, so that's your first job. Call the state and get the info that fits your state. And then take those necessary steps, whether you need to make a to-do list or what, and get it done. Put all that anxiety behind you. Just think about it. If you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it. So just put that in your mind. Just go ahead and do it. So once you do that, then you register to take the exam. Now, choose something that works best for you. I've taken it in the morning. I took it kind of later in the afternoon. The time whenever I took it, kind of midday, that's whenever I passed. So I took it around 12, got done around 4, and I passed. Whenever I took it early in the morning, I failed. And whenever I took it kind of midday and I finished late, I failed. But I don't think any of that had anything to do with it. I really just feel like the third time I was more prepared. Preparation is key. So, but if you know you're a morning person, take it in the morning. If you're not a morning person, don't take it in the morning. Make sure that whenever you go take the test, make sure that your stomach is full. Please make sure that your stomach is full. Not full to the point where you sick, but make sure you got something on your stomach. You don't want to go in there and taking that test and you hungry. Because now you got anxiety. The test challenging and you hungry. That's too much. Yeah. So make sure that you eat that day. That night, I would say get a lot of rest. You don't gotta like study super hard that night before, but have you like a sheet that got like the main information. I would say maybe print out the words that I gave you and use that. And also some places they let you create a cheat sheet once you get there, a scratch sheet, that's a better word. So you can't take that scratch sheet in. But later on in this video, I'm going to tell you how every single time you study, train yourself to make a scratch sheet very quickly. And then I would use that. I would print off some words or maybe some index cards and take that scratch sheet with you. And kind of like maybe 10 minutes before you walk in, just look through it. But we'll get to that later on whenever it comes to the scratch sheet. And make sure that you wear something comfortable. So if you the type you feel like a boss whenever you dressed up, then you need to be in the exam center dressed up. If you feel more relaxed and you can take a test whenever you got on pajamas, you can't go in there in pajamas, but you know, wear something comfortable, put some sweats on. If you kind of in the middle and you just want to have on jeans and a shirt, do that. Sometimes they don't allow you to wear wristbands around your wrist. So if you got your hair down, but you know about 30 minutes in you're gonna get aggravated with it and you want to put it up in a hat tie, you need to already have that. You need to already have your hair in a ponytail. Or you gonna be in there, keep going like this, pulling your hair back behind your ears, and you're gonna get aggravated. And I don't think that you can chew gum. But again, once you register, call your testing center to ask them all these questions. So I included a list of questions also in the information packet as well. So along with the questions, there was something in there about calling to ask about parking. So making sure that your testing center say, how is it on parking? Where can you park? Things of that sort. And also you can ask them, once you get in there, ask them, where is the bathroom? So whenever you do have to go to the bathroom, you're not wasting time trying to figure out where it is. You've already figured it out. So, can you go to the bathroom? Things of that sort. And I know that they say, like, once you put your stuff in the locker, you can't take anything out. So if you are a woman and if you have things that you need whenever you go to the bathroom, if it's your time while you're taking the test, you need to kind of ask about that. Say, like, hey, because advocate for yourself, because you don't want to be uncomfortable. Say, like, hey, may need something from my locker. Tell them what it is and say, how do I go about doing that? So get that worked out. And also asking your testing center, what am I allowed to have in the testing center? So they provided me with earbuds, but some testing centers may allow you to get your own earbuds. No, you cannot play music, but it's just like literally earbuds. So just ask. Whenever I took the test, we had to wear a mask, but that was last year. That was in 2022. So there was still it was a lot more COVID precautions than we have now, but still, it still are COVID precautions in the world. So just ask, because you may have to wear a mask. Somebody also gave me the suggestion that if you study in a mask, then whenever you had a mask on them 100 hours while you're taking that test, you'll be used to it. If you study in a certain perfume, wear that perfume on that day. So those are just some things to keep in mind. So call the testing center and ask questions. Any question that you have, advocate for yourself. Do not be afraid to ask questions, because nobody knows it all, and we don't know it all. I don't know it all. So even questions that I ask, it's probably some more questions that you need to ask, because I don't know it all and I ain't think of it all. And you might run into something different. Also, accommodations. Some people, you may be the type of person, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that somebody was having trouble because this is an online test. They do better on writing style tests. They advocated for themselves and they got an accommodation for that. If you need to sit longer. And like I said, I don't know how true this is, but it's just a story I heard, but it could be true. If you go to the doctor, if throughout school you had accommodations, you can get accommodations for this test. If you have a health risk and maybe you use the bathroom a lot, so maybe you need more bathroom breaks, which is going to mean that you need more time, because the clock don't stop because you go to the bathroom. It don't. So however long you're in the bathroom. So I said come with a full stomach, but not too full, because the clock don't stop just because you go to the bathroom. So that's about the testing. So each test is different. I feel like each time I got the test, it was a different test. The first time I took it, it was more of a recall. Recall is what you literally like recall. So it's like definition based. It's definition based. You know, you get a lot of medication questions. It's very like verbatim type answers. The second time it was more scenario. The third time it was kind of both tied into each other. So it was kind of like hand in hand. Each test, I would say my first test was the easiest. Even though I failed it, I didn't have as much knowledge as I did by the third time, because I went into the test that, you know, like I got my bachelor's and my master's, so I can just utilize all the information that I've gained over the years learning different things in the field of social work, and that was all all the knowledge that I needed because I was intimidated by that ASWB book. I was not going through and reading detail by detail everything in that book. That's like reading a dictionary. It's hard to just go in. Like whenever somebody say, okay, you taking a test, this is the book you need to read. That's a lot of information. I need something broke down. So that's in this video, I'm telling y'all different stuff that you can use that breaks it down to you. But if you can go through that whole book, then go through it. But I couldn't. Still haven't. And I will probably never read that book word by word. I haven't even read the Bible word by word. So I know I'm not reading the ASWB book word by word. Because the Bible go come first, period. So, yeah. Not to say that you shouldn't go through it, but that's a very dense book. So it's easier to just read other things or utilize other tools, and social workers are resourceful and we can work smarter, not harder. Another thing, I was taking a test like a social worker because that's what make the most sense. It's a social work test. But now you have to take this test like a reader and like an exam taker. So there's different things. It's always the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So your psychological needs are first. And that's in the PowerPoint that I sent. Those psychological needs are first, like making sure that you have food and shelter. And then, safety, health, and things of that sort. So really look into the Maslow hierarchy of needs and think about that whenever you are answering the questions. Also think about the problem as soon as you read the question. So you read it, ask yourself, okay, what's the problem? Okay, who is the problem affecting? And then that last sentence is going to really ask you, okay, what do I need to do about this problem and who is affecting? If the last question says something about, what is the first thing that you do? It's trying to trick you. It ain't saying like what's the best thing to do. It's saying like what's the first thing that you should do. So if something says that Amy is worried about Zion expressed suicide ideation, what should Amy do first? So first, what's the problem? The problem is that Zion is experiencing suicide ideation because that's sad. Okay, who is it affecting? It is affecting Zion. Even though Amy is worried, okay, you got suicide ideation or worry. Suicide ideation go trump the worry. And then the last question, what should Amy do first? So always think about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. He got shelter, he got water. Didn't say nothing about that. So don't add nothing in the question that it didn't say. Okay, so next is health. It didn't say anything about health. This is suicide ideation, which can be helped. But so what is the first thing to do? Should Amy call 911? Should Amy ask Zion if he have a plan or intent? Or should Zion go to the hospital? So for one thing, I didn't include any questions in that packet because I always feel like you need to use the questions that's coming straight from ASWB. Because this is the type of test where two social workers feel like it's two different answers, but you literally have to go by the ASWB because those are the ones that are grading the test. So I would say that the first thing that you should do is ask Zion, does he have a plan or intent? Because if Amy is worried that Zion expressed that he has suicide ideations, okay, so it's not saying that Amy will never report it or that Amy will never call 911. But the first thing whenever somebody says, I want to do this, you say, do you have a plan? Like, do you got something on you right now? You have an intent. So it's not saying that he ain't go to the hospital. It's not saying that she's not going to call 911, but the first thing that you do. So it's not asking for the best answer. It's literally asking for the first. answer. So always think of that. And other things like it may ask you something about recall. That's going to be like vocabulary, things of that sort. So I feel like if you are somebody who struggles with knowledge gaps, and what knowledge gaps are you retaining the information, not retaining like, oh, you can't remember anything, but it's a whole bunch of information. So if you feel like I don't know if you feel like I don't know half the stuff that's on the test, you have a problem with knowledge gaps. And the way that you will know that you don't know half the stuff that's on the test, take a practice test or get the app on your phone and take some of those tests. And if you're failing it, it's probably because you got knowledge gaps. So if you are somebody that struggles with knowledge gaps, I suggest using TDC. It's very, very helpful. It is expensive, but it's helpful. So, and if you don't have the expenses, just look up definitions and take practice tests that are not that are free, and also looking on YouTube, and also joining groups. If you want to get added to some groups, reach out to me and I can add you to some groups. But if you're having a problem with knowledge gaps, and if you can't afford it, get TDC. And TDC is, I bought TDC 2 weeks before I took my test, and I used it the third time, but I crammed. But I'm good at cramming. And it was basically like that PowerPoint I sent you with all those words. It had worksheets like that, but it's so much more in depth. So if you're somebody that has a problem with knowledge gaps, TDC gonna cover it all. But you got to be the type of person that's really gonna sit down and do it. Now, if you know that you ain't gonna sit down, sit to the table and figure this stuff out and answer these questions and listen to this audio and read this and read that, don't do it. Don't waste your money. But if you're somebody that's having a problem with knowledge gaps, and TDC is Therapy Development Center, and I provide you with that link on the referral page. And if you're somebody that struggle with knowledge gaps and you're not gonna sit down and do it, take a boot camp, and it's the Dr. Edith, and it's called the LMSW exam boot camp. I put the link in there. I may be saying it wrong. And it's literally an all-day thing, and they provide you with audio books, and basically the audio is really the boot camp, and they go through questions with you, they go through definitions with you. It's a lot of key definitions, and they have a lot of strategies, so they're gonna provide you with a lot of acronyms that you can use with the scratch sheet that I said. So my state, it allows you to have a scratch sheet. So as soon as you go into the testing center, because somebody gave me this advice for my third time, to basically train yourself to create a scratch sheet. So anytime you study, have a sheet and say, okay, I'm gonna give myself 2 minutes, and I'm gonna try to put down some acronyms. I'm gonna try to put down maybe a theory that I kind of always forget. I'm gonna try to put down this important person. I'm gonna try to put down Maslow hierarchy of needs. So create a study sheet, and each time you study, create that same study sheet over and over and over again, and it's gonna be your blueprint to the test. So if you're somebody who struggle with knowledge gaps, but you're not the type to sit down and make yourself do it, all you need to do is put aside one day that you're gonna log into the boot camp, because it's virtual. You're gonna sit there and listen, and then you can get the audio book as well, but you have to purchase that too. And if you are somebody that struggle with strategies, I would recommend reaching out to somebody by the name of it's a group called Social Work Exam Strategies, and I added that in there. And she's good with strategy. She can break down how you do the test. And I feel like she was very helpful and very beneficial. She tells you how to take the test. And if you go through with her, I felt very confident after listening to one of her things. And if you're somebody who just want a Zoom, every week, a colleague of mine, she has a Zoom on Sundays, and it's open discussion, and each Sunday the topics are different because it's open discussion. So if you have a question, let's say you had a question that you've been studying, and Sunday you get on, you can bring it up. I promise it was very helpful. It's very inclusive. So those are basically everything. And like I said, this video wasn't going to be 1 hour because it's no questions. Nobody's asking questions. This is just me. So those are some of the things. And I also included, like, if you go on TikTok and you can hashtag LMSW. People have like little catchy things to help you. In social work groups, like I said, reach out to me about the social work groups. You can always reach out to me or DM me, just asking me certain questions. And again, I appreciate you guys for logging on to the Zoom, for those of you that did log on. And like I said, I'm going to revamp the flyer so people will know that this is basically like an informational, because I'm not a teacher or a tutor, but I did take the test 3 times and I have a lot of information and I can provide you with a lot of resources because I'm not a gatekeeper. And gatekeeping is basically people who know information, they don't tell. Oh yeah, and one thing, whenever I had my test, I had a lot of questions about LGBTQ and the gender, like dysphoria or different pronouns or how they identify themselves. So go into detail, like look up every single type of description or ways that people present themselves or how they want to be identified, and know them, because it is a lot. I had a lot of gender questions. I had about 7 or 8 gender questions. And also, whenever you go through your questions, if you don't know them, because you don't want to dwell on them, like let's say this one is really, 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 really hard, you will get caught up on it. I know I got caught up on a question and probably stayed on it for 10 minutes, flag it and go to the next one and come back. Please do that, and then make sure that you check all your flag questions. Each test does not have the same amount of questions. So I can't tell you, oh, it's this amount of questions on the test. Each test is literally different. So you don't know how many questions. And if you pass, they don't tell you what you got wrong or got right. If you fail, they do tell you how many points you got, but they don't show you like, oh, you got the question about the dog wrong. Oh, and also speaking of dogs, so another tip I got, so if you have a question, let's say you have a question about a dog, somewhere in that answer, it needs to address a dog. So don't have a question about a dog, but give an answer about a cat. Dog question, dog answer. So so many tips and tools and resources out there, expensive and non-expensive. It's people out here willing to help you, people out here willing to give you advice. YouTube, TikTok, different books. Even though I say like it's hard to go through all the books, you still do need the books. And it's just good as a social worker just to have certain stuff. And don't feel afraid to ask people for help, for tools, for resources. People out here, we're social workers. So in some type of way, we got to have some type of heart. So we got to help each other. So thank you all for signing up for my informational. Please refer somebody. Feel free to reach out to me on your journey. Like I said, it is a challenging test, but it is doable. And thank you so much and have a great day.